welcome to another live session at TalentSprint. So as we always do, before we move ahead in the session, let's greet each other who are out there by saying a hello. I'm looking forward to hear a hello, a hi, some greeting, a good evening from all those of you who are out there watching this session live. Okay, looks like some of us are really shy today. We don't even want to say hello. Okay, so as I'm sure most of you already know, that in today's live session, we will be discussing some questions that were asked in the reasoning ability or the logical ability section of the mock AMCAT published over the last 2 weeks. Now, before we actually move on to do that, let me take this opportunity to remind you that every week, boys and girls, yes, every week, All India level mock AMCAT is published exclusively for you on our website. You can just log into our website and take the test for free. This test will not only help you to practice recruitment tests, practice taking the actual AMCAT, but at the same time will give you an All India level ranking and telling you exactly where you stand and how many candidates stand between you and your dream job. Okay. So proceeding ahead with today's session, boys and girls, how I have planned today's session is that I have that over the last 2 mock AMCATs, there are 50 questions that were asked, 25 in each of the tests. I have picked up about 15 questions, divided them into 4 categories. Those topics today being syllogisms, coded inequalities, coding, decoding, and data sufficiency. And then with this topic by topic, we will move ahead into our class. Suddenly I see a lot of people. Suddenly, hi Vijay, hi Dilip, hi Naveen, hi Angel. Great. I think so. Are we all ready to kickstart our session for the day and discuss some really interesting and mind-boggling questions that were asked in the mock AMCAT over the last 2 weeks? Great. So without wasting hello Vasiullah. So without wasting any more time, let's dig right deep in. Okay. So let's start our session for the day. Hi Satya. Okay, so let's dig right deep in and start. Okay, as you can see, the first question that I have selected from the day is, boys and girls, from the topic of syllogisms. Okay, now even before I move into it, I can see there that Wasiudullah has asked us the question, what is the strategy to crack AMCAT? Wasiudullah, I'll take your question probably at the end of the session, and at the present, just focus on actually solving some questions. Maybe that will also give you a hang of exactly how you should be handling the mock AMCAT. Actually, the AMCAT, not even the mock AMCAT. Hi Javed, hi Harish, hi Narendra. Okay, let's start. Okay, as you can see, boys and girls, the first question is from the topic of syllogisms. Now, what are syllogisms and exactly how do we deal with syllogisms? Syllogisms, boys and girls, is usually, in the case of syllogisms, you will have about 1, 2 or 3 statements. As you can see here, there are 3 statements in this case, and the statements will usually be followed by a conclusion or a pair of conclusions. And based on the facts that the statements tell you, we have to analyze whether the conclusions given hold true or not. Now, one of the major things that we all forget while doing syllogisms is that we consider that we often think that what the statement is saying is against common sense, against what you and me know by common sense. But however, we must remember that we must consider only and only what is written in the syllogism to be true, and not under any circumstances use some external knowledge that we have and let that impact our answers. So one of the biggest things, one of the biggest places where all of us make a mistake in syllogisms is, boys and girls, that we think, no, no, by logic this is something that cannot be true. Therefore we say, oh, this conclusion cannot be true, this conclusion is false. No, that is not the correct way to approach questions on syllogisms. One of the basic borderline things that we have to remember when we do questions on syllogisms is that we have to consider the statements to be like Bible. Those words are like the words of the Bible, which cannot be denied under any circumstances till the time we are doing those questions. I'm sure you've got that little extra knack, and with that we can start. I can see some of you have logged in the meanwhile. Hi Ramlal, hi Surabhi. Okay, let's go right ahead and see the question that we have today for syllogisms. Okay, now usually in case of syllogisms, boys and girls, there are 5 different options you have for the answer. The first one only if conclusion 1 is true, the second one only if conclusion 2 is true, the third option if either 1 or 2 can follow, option 4 if none of them can, and option 5 if both of them follow. Now let's look at the statements. All children are cute, no boy is cute, some boys are goods. Now we know that common sensically some things may not make sense here, but like I said, put that common side aside and solve the questions. Now, one of the best way to solve questions on syllogisms is by making Venn diagrams, and that is exactly what we will do. Okay, let's see. It tells us all children are cute. So cute here will be our bigger set. So this is cute, and it tells us all children are cute, which means that children will be a subset of cute. Now it tells us no boys are cute, which means that boys will be an independent set here, and then it tells us some boys are goods. There. Now with the third statement, boys and girls, please note the third statement that we have, some boys are goods. With this, there are 3 different possibilities, 3 different situations that may arise. Now, here we can see that we have clearly marked that some boys are goods, but goods is not overlapping with cute or children. But our statements define nothing about it. They tell us nothing about it, which means that we will also have to consider the other 2 situations. So let's look at the second situation which is possible. Obviously, the first part is that cute would be our bigger set, children will be a subset in cute. We know that no boy is cute, and then some boys are goods. It is highly possible that there is a sort of sharing that is happening between goods and cute. This is the second possibility. Now if you read the statements once again, we also know that there arises a solid strong possibility where goods may also collide with children, which means that we also have to chalk out a third possibility. So the third possibility, once again, cute being the bigger set, children being the subset in cute, no boys being cute, boys do not take an offense. We know some of you are really cute, rather most of you are cute. This is just a statement for a syllogism, so take it with a tongue, with a little pinch of salt. Okay, the next one being some boys are goods. Now here an overlapping may happen where goods is a part of all, boys, cute and children. Now let us take a second and analyze the 3 different diagrams and how they are different here. Goods shares some common part with boys, but is not sharing anything common with children or cute. In the second situation, good obviously shares a common part with good good shares a common part with boys once again, and here it is sharing something in common with the set cute. Now let us look at the third situation. In the third situation, if you notice that goods here is sharing something in common with boys, cute and children. So we must remember, most of us have a common tendency of only drawing one diagram and trying and analyzing the syllogism by it. But no, there may be cases like this question where a multiple number of situations may be possible, and we have to analyze all those before we answer our question. Now, let us look at what our conclusion says. Conclusion 1 says, all goods being boys is a possibility. Now, I request all of you to notice the usage of the word possibility here. They don't tell us that all goods are boys. They tell us by adding the term possibility, they clearly tell us that there is a clear situation where it may be possible that all goods are boys, where goods and boys become a overlapping cell. Now, it is interestingly, that is not a situation that we have chalked out here, but looking at these diagrams, knowing that there is nothing that we know, it is a possibility that may arise. Therefore, this becomes, yes, this conclusion does follow. Now, some goods are not children. We know, if you look at some goods, if you look at the situation, the possibility 1, the situation 1 and 2 that we have chalked out, we can clearly see that goods and children do not share anything common in this diagram. Neither do they share anything common in this diagram, which clearly means that some goods are not children also follows from this given, from these given statements. Therefore, here the answer will be 5. Both conclusion 1 and 2 follow. Now, with this, I would request all of you to take about 30 seconds, analyze the diagrams here, read the conclusion, and see that if you agree and if you have any doubts, please ask. In the meanwhile, I can see Poonam, Akhil, Sanket and Sahdev have joined us. A big hello to all of you. So I would request all of you to once again look at these statements, see if you can actually chalk out these diagrams on your own without any problem, and see if you have understood the question. I'm going to wait to get a thumbs up from all of you before I can actually move on to the next question. Okay, Ramlal here is asking me to speak in Hindi. Trinath says he could not understand conclusion 1. Great, Trinath, there is a slight bit of twist in that. Let me explain conclusion 1. Great, Syed. Wasiullah, I will explain once again. Great. Now, let us look at our statements once again. All children are cute. So what have we done in all the 3 possibilities? Drawn a set of cute. What I am doing is I am explaining. I can see Narendra and Manish. Ma'am, in third diagram, there is a possibility of some goods are not children. Manish, ma'am, could you please tell us the third diagram? I am doing exactly that, explaining all the 3 diagrams, and I will once again go back to both conclusion 1 and 2. Okay, now let's read the statement 1. All children are cute means that cute will be the bigger set and children will be a subset in it because all children are cute. Now, take this one statement and look at all the 3 diagrams that we have drawn. We have, in all these cases, cute is the bigger set and children is a subset. I'm sure this one statement is clear to everyone. Let's look at the second statement. No boy is cute means that the statement no boy is cute, statement 2 has to be completely different from the bigger set of cute. Now look at this now. We know that the statement no boy is cute cannot overlap with the set cute under any circumstances. So in all the 3 cases, we have drawn that set separately. Now, the most interesting and the catchy part of this question, some boys are goods. Now, if you look at statement 1, if you look at the possibility 1, some boys are goods, what we have done is that we are not sure that the some boys who are goods, whether they will overlap with cute or children or not. So here we have we have expressed that possibility where these boys who are also goods will not overlap with cute and children. But if you see in the second, but there is a possibility that some boys who are goods are also cute boys. So if you say some, we know that boys cannot be cute, but some goods can be cute. So in the second diagram, we have shown how some goods can also be cute because the statements are open-ended on it and tell us nothing. Now Manish, addressing your question of the third diagram, cute being the bigger set, children being a subset, B being a set that has nothing to do with overlapping of these two sets. Now, some boys are goods. Now the subset good, we know that some boys are goods is represented by this. But there is also another part to this, to goods. Goods can also be cute and goods can also be children. That is the possibility that we have explained with diagram 3. Exactly, Vasidullah, there are 3 diagrams because there are 3 possibilities in which these statements can be expressed. And Tushar, hello, great that you have joined us. Let's have a look now. Let's have a look at the conclusions. All goods being boys is a possibility. Now they tell us some goods are boys, but that can also mean that the set of goods can completely overlap with the set of boys. Situation 1 gives scope to that possibility where the set of boys can completely overlap with the set of goods, therefore which means that conclusion 1 is a possibility. Now let's look at the second. Some goods are not children. Now if we look at 1, 2, 3, in all the 3 situations, there are some goods which are not children. If you look at situation 1, the entire set of goods does not overlap with children at all, which means that yes, some goods are not children. Let's look at situation 3, possibility 3. There is a part of goods that overlaps with cute and nothing here overlaps with children. Therefore, again, some goods are not children. Now, if you look at this, the third possibility, goods overlaps with boys, cute and children. But again, there is this part of goods that does not overlap with children. Therefore, from this we can say that both conclusion 1 and 2 follow. Once again, I would request you all to take about 30 seconds and see if you have understood the question. If you have understood why both the conclusions hold true, therefore, like I said, in this case, the answer will be 5. Both conclusion 1 and 2 follow. So, Sheikh there tells us he got it. I hope to hear the same, but in case you haven't, please do not hesitate to voice your concern. So Wasiullah tells us that he's got it. Looking forward to hear from some more of you. Satya tells us that she's understood. Manish says, so I think I can move ahead, and let's move ahead to the next set of conclusions, which is also based on the same statements. Thank you, Narendra. I'm glad you got it. Okay. Now let's look at this. Now let's look at the conclusions here, boys and girls. Some goods are not children. Now, some goods are not children. Would anyone like to try this question before I try and explain it? Would anyone like to try this question, or I think I will move ahead by explaining? Great. Now, if we look at the possibility 1, situation 1, some goods are not children clearly holds. It is clearly there. You and me can understand it. Okay. Now, if we look at the possibility that arises in situation 2 and 3. Situation 2 also we know that some goods are not children because there is no overlapping that is happening between goods and children. But in the third case, there is a clear overlapping happening between goods and children, and we know that some goods are actually children from this situation. Therefore, we can conclude that this conclusion here does not follow because some goods are actually children. Therefore, conclusion 1 does not follow. Let's look at the second conclusion. Some boys are not children is a possibility. Now, we know that children is a subset of cute, and boys and cute do not overlap, as has been clearly mentioned in the second statement. Therefore, we know that boys and children overlapping is not a possibility. Therefore, there will be some boys who will not be children. Therefore, conclusion number 2 follows. Once again, I would request all of you to take 30 seconds, see if you have understood why we have reached these conclusions, and if you have not, please ask your doubts. Do not hesitate. This live session is held exclusively for all of you so that we can discuss questions that were held in the All India level mock AMCAT that you guys can take every weekend by logging into our website for absolutely free. Okay, so let's see, have you guys understood or not understood? I'm waiting to hear from all you guys. Okay, Sheikh has asked me to explain conclusion number 1 once again. Great, Sheikh. I will just proceed to do that. Anyone else has any other doubt? Please ask, boys and girls. The diagrams are right there shared with you on your screen. Okay, so what I'll do is I will once again explain both the conclusions. Okay. Now, some goods are not children. Now, we know that goods and children do not share anything common in diagram 1 or 2. Therefore, let's come directly to diagram 3, situation 3, possibility 3, where goods and children share something in common. We know that some goods are actually children. From this part of the diagram, we can easily conclude that some goods are actually children. So therefore, we can see that this is a clear negation of what we can conclude from this part, that some goods are actually children. Therefore, this conclusion does not hold true. So I hope Sheikh and Ganesh, it is clear. Now let me go on to conclusion 2. Vivek, especially for you. Okay, now read conclusion 2. Some boys are not children is a possibility. Now, we know if you read, no boy is cute, all children are cute. Children is a subset in the bigger set of cute, and we know that boys and cute cannot overlap at all because of statement number 2, that no boy is cute. I repeat, children is a subset of cute. Therefore, all children will always be cute, as statement number 1 says. But statement number 2 clearly tells us that no boy is cute. Therefore, under no circumstances will the set of boys overlap with cute. If it does not overlap with cute, obviously it will not overlap with children, because children is a subset of cute. So I hope that all of you have understood this question. I'm looking to get a thumbs up from all of you so that I can actually move on to the next set of questions, boys and girls, that is on a different topic. So yes, I can hear, okay, I can hear Sheikh says clear, ma'am ji. So Sheikh ma'am ji here is very happy that the question is clear to you. Yes, Trinath, I am going to proceed ahead. Vasudla, great, thumbs up, great to know that you've got the question. Narendra, I am equally glad to know that you have got the question too. Great, Satya, thumbs up to you too. Great to know that you have got the question. All right, now let us, Surya, Narendra, Ganesh, lots of thumbs up to all you guys for having understood the question. And I'm sure next time when you attempt the question in any recruitment drive, in any test paper that you are giving, you will not make a mistake in syllogisms, because not only will you see one possibility but explore the different possibilities, the different situations that are possible. And now with this, I am going to move to the next section. The next section, boys and girls, is on a topic that we say coded inequalities. Now, what happens in coded inequalities? In coded inequalities, there is usually a mathematical operation or a symbol that represents a certain mathematical operation. Like here, if you notice, you can see that there are symbols like copyright, percentage, at the rate, dollar, hashtag, and each of these symbols represent a mathematical operation that plays with the combination of lesser than, greater than, equal to. Various permutation combinations that they play around with here, and then let's first actually decipher these, and then what usually happens is that then there will be some statements where they will use the same symbols to establish a relationship, and then conclusions. So what do we have to do? We have to decipher from the above symbols, and then we have to see whether these conclusions hold true or not. Great. So let us see what each symbol actually means. Now if you see the copyright symbol, they tell us that A is either smaller than or equal to B. So we know that the copyright symbol means smaller than, equal to. Percentage. A is neither smaller nor equal to. So if something is neither small nor is it equal to, we know that it will be greater than. So we know that the percentage sign stands for greater than. Let's look at the rate. A is either greater or equal. It says that A is either greater or equal to B. So we know that the at the rate sign stands for greater than, equal to. The dollar sign. A is neither great nor equal to. Neither is it great nor is it equal to, leaves us with the third possibility of smaller than. A hashtag B. Neither great nor small, leaves us with the third possibility of equal to. Now that we have decoded each of these symbols, let us say what our given statements here say, boys and girls. Let's look at the first statement. The first statement says P copyright Q. Now we know that copyright stands for copyright stands for smaller than, equal to, less than, equal to. Therefore we will have P is less than, equal to Q. Now Q hashtag R. We know that hashtag stands for equal to. Therefore we know that Q will be equal to R. Then they tell us R at the rate of S. At the rate we know stands for, boys and girls, at the rate stands for greater than, equal to. So we know that R will be greater than, equal to S. Now if you see these three statements, we have managed to convert them into a linear equation of inequality, from where we can easily see our conclusion. Now the first conclusion that they tell us is S percentage Q. S percentage Q means that S is smaller than Q. The second one says P hashtag S, which means that P is equal to S. Now first let us look at conclusion 1. S, they tell us that S is percentage Q, meaning that S is actually greater than Q. Now if you look at the inequality here, we know that Q is equal to R and R is actually greater than S, which means that there is a clear discrepancy here. Here we are talking of a greater than relationship between Q and S, but here our conclusion is saying that actually it is smaller than. Therefore we know that here the option does not hold. Here this conclusion does not hold. Now, let us look at P is equal to S. Now, if you look at the given inequality that we have, we know that P is less than equal to Q, which means that there is a strong possibility in which P will be equal to Q. We also know that Q is equal to R and R is greater than equal to S, which means that there will be a given condition in which all these will be equal. Therefore, this conclusion holds true, which means that our answer here will be 2, that only conclusion 2 follows. Now, I can see that Satya, Karthik, Shruti have got the correct answer. Those of you who haven't, I would once again request, take 30 seconds, analyze why we reached this conclusion, and if you have a doubt, please ask. Let no doubt go unanswered today. So I can see a lot of people are getting the hang of it. Let us see. I am waiting to see if anyone still has a doubt. Is there anyone out there who still has a doubt? Narendra has given me a thumbs up once again. Great, Narendra. Okay, Ganesh wants me to explain it again, and Ganesh, I will do it. Now, Ganesh, let us start by analyzing our statements. Our statement here says P copyright Q, which means that P is less than equal to Q. Then they tell us Q hashtag R means that Q is equal to R, then R at the rate S, which means that R is greater than equal to S. Look at the first conclusion. First conclusion is S percentage Q, which means that S is actually greater than Q, which is a big discrepancy from what has been given to us here, because we know that S is actually small than Q and R both. Therefore, this will not hold. Let's look at the second. P hashtag S means that P is equal to S. If you look from here, we know that P is less than equal to Q includes the possibility of P being equal to Q. Q is equal to R. R is greater than equal to S, which again includes the possibility of equal to. Therefore, conclusion 2 holds. So I hope that most of you have got it now. I can see thumbs up from many of you, which means that most of you have understood it. Okay. Let's move on to the second set of the second question on coded inequalities, which interestingly is based on the same. Okay. Now, let us look at this. Once again, the symbols mean the same things. There is no difference in the meaning of symbols, but our statements are different. Our first statement reads M at the rate N. M at the rate N, so we will write it M is greater than equal to N. Then they tell us N percentage R. Percentage stands for greater than, which would mean that N is greater than R. Then they tell us that $R. $R would actually mean that P is smaller than R. So P is smaller than R. Now, I will once again explain how we got this linear equation, how we got this equation of inequality, and then let's analyze our conclusions. M at the rate N, we know that at the rate stands for greater than equal to, so M is greater than equal to N. Then let us look at the percentage sign. We know stands for greater than, N is greater than R. Then comes the dollar sign. We know the dollar sign stands for less than, so therefore what we have done is we have put P here and made P less than R. Now, let us see our conclusions. Conclusion 1 says $M. We know dollar stands for less than, so it means P is less than M. Now, let us also look what the second conclusion says. The second conclusion says R percentage M. And we know that the percentage stands for greater than means R is greater than M. Now let's look. Now if you look at the coded inequality, boys and girls, here you will realize that P is the smallest value because P is smaller than R is smaller than N, and N is smaller than equal to M. So if I read it the reverse way, M is greater than equal to N is greater than R, and R is greater than P, which means that P is the smallest. Therefore, conclusion 1 holds true. Now let's look at the second one. The second says that R is greater than M. Now if you say if P is the smallest value, R becomes the value that is second smallest, and M is the largest value. So therefore, R cannot be greater than M, which means that only conclusion 1 follows. Our answer here is 1. Only conclusion 1 follows. Now, once again, I would request all of you take 30 seconds and see if you have understood the question. I can see a lot of people saying, Satya is saying, Manish is saying, Narendra is saying, Sahadev is saying. Looks like all of you have got the hang of it. Good to see that so many of you are being able to solve the question. So I hope I can take your thumbs up as a option to the fact that yes, I can move on to the next question. Now, boys and girls, the next question is also on coded inequality. So I'm going to explain this one again, and after that the question that is there, I'm going to ask you guys to solve it. So let's move to the next question. Okay, now next question, once again, 2 statements, same set of inequalities, and we are going to solve it once again. Yes, Wasiullah, I have another question, another example that we will discuss. Great. Let's look at here. The first thing that we have is C hashtag D. So the first statement here is C hashtag D, which means that C is equal to D. Next, D at the rate F. Now if you see, the next thing is D at the rate F, which means that D is greater than equal to F. The next thing I have is F percentage G, which would mean that F is greater than G. Now that we have our inequality, let's look at our conclusions. The first conclusion is D copyright G, which means that D is less than equal to G. And the second conclusion that I have is C at the rate F, which means that C is greater than equal to F. Now, let us look at this. Let us look at our first statement. Now, from the above equation, if you see, boys and okay, I am sorry, I have just realized I have made an error here. I am sorry that I have written the percentage sign where actually another sign should have come, and that sign, boys and girls, is of greater than. My mistake there, I'm really sorry. Now let us analyze the first conclusion. Now if you notice, you will realize that G is the biggest value in the entire inequality. Why? Because C is greater than D. Can I say G is the greatest value? No. G is actually the smallest value in the entire inequality. Why? C is equal to D, D is greater than F, and F is greater than G, which here actually means, and if you notice, if we actually remove the inequality of F, we will get that D is greater than equal to G, which is the exact opposite of what has been said in the first conclusion, which means that conclusion 1 does not follow. Now let us look at conclusion number 2. From the above linear equation, boys and girls, if we just remove D, just hide D, and you will see that C is greater than equal to f, which is clearly what is written in the second conclusion, which means that conclusion 2 is true, and therefore our answer will be only conclusion number 2 is true. I can see that a lot of you are getting the answer as 4, and that is a little disturbing, which means that all of you have understood why why conclusion 1 is false. Let me once again explain why conclusion 2 is correct. Now, conclusion 2 that we have is C at the rate f, which clearly means that C is greater than equal to f. Now, let us look at the inequality which we have at the top. In the above inequality, boys and girls, if you just for a moment stop looking at D, this is exactly what you have in front of you, that C is actually greater than equal to F, because C and D are equal. If C and D are equal, whether I put C here or whether I put D here is going to be immaterial. Therefore, C or D will both always be greater than equal to F. I hope that all of you have understood this. Once again, I would advise you guys, take 30 seconds, have a look at this and see if you have understood why this is the answer. Satish has got it. Bal Nayak has got it. I can see Sahadev has got it. Satya says she has got it. Venkat says that he's got it. Okay. So now that we have solved 3 questions on coded inequalities, let me put you through a little test on the same topic. So what I'm going to do now is that I am going to put another question of coded inequality for you on the screen, and I'm going to see amongst all those of you who are watching this live session out there, who can answer this question first. All right? Okay. So get set, go, and here goes the next question. Great. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to catch a breather and wait for all you guys to answer this question. The question is up there for you on the screen that has been shared with you. Okay, the clock is ticking and I am looking forward to some answers from you guys. Clock is ticking, the screen is shared with you. You should be sitting with a pen and paper in your hand, quickly, struggling with some inequalities out there, coming to some conclusions, checking if certain conclusions hold true. Okay, Satya says 5, Narendra says 2. 2 answers have come until now and both of them are different. Sheikh says both true, so which means that for Sheikh also the answer is 5, because option number 5 says that both conclusion 1 and 2 are true. Okay. Satish says 5, actually both, where he means option number 5. Shruti says 5. All right, let me see some more people. Come on, let me see, your struggle is real. Okay, yes, for all those of you who have said option number 5, the correct answer is option number 5. It is great to see how you all have been able to master coded inequalities in just one live session. That is amazing. Okay, I can see some of you have got the wrong answer. I would request, if anyone has a doubt as to why 5th is the correct answer, they should ask me where you got stuck. Do you want me to solve it? Okay, what I'm going to actually do is I am going to quickly write the inequality statement and hope that just that makes things clear for you. So we know W dollar Z, which means that W is small, W dollar X, which means that W is smaller than X. Then they tell us X copyright Y, which means that X is smaller than equal to Y. Then they tell us Y hashtag Z, which means Y is equal to Z. There goes your inequality. If I quickly decode the first conclusion is W is smaller than Z. Clearly evident from this, just hide X and Y and you can clearly see that inequality. So yes, this holds. Let's look at the second conclusion. Second conclusion is Y percentage W, which means that Y is greater than W. Y is greater than W? Yes, because W is the smallest value and Y is greater than W. Therefore, this also holds. Therefore, boys and girls, we have reached this. Kudos to all those of you who got the correct answer. Kudos to all of you who got the correct answer. So with this, I am hoping that next time when you solve questions on coded inequalities, you are no more going to be scared of a question that has 10 statements before it, and you would actually be excited to get to practice many more such questions. You must every weekend give our All India level mock AMCAT, because you will get an entire plethora of questions that you can try under a given stipulated time and see how well you are faring. With this, I am going to move on to the next lot of questions for the day, which are from a topic known as data sufficiency. Now, data sufficiency, boys and girls, is one of those very interesting topics, which is a combination of various topics. Because what happens in data sufficiency is that there are again two statements given to you out there. Now, those two statements describe a certain situation. Now, that situation actually describes a problem. Now, that problem may be of directions, it may be of blood relations, it may be of seating arrangements, or any of those topics. And then you have to see that whether those two statements that have been given to you, whether that data is sufficient for you to answer that question that is followed after those two statements. I can see Vasidullah is wondering whether he can ask a question. Vasidullah, you must ask a question freely, because this is exactly what this forum is for. So hold no bars, go ahead, ask a question. Go ahead, Vasidullah. Yes, Vasidullah, I'm looking to answer to your question, Saeed, so that I can move ahead. Okay, looks like Saeed is asking a question. In the meanwhile, let's move on to data sufficiency. Like I told you, a quick recap of what I told you. You are given two statements. Those two statements describe a certain situation. That certain situation will pose a mathematical problem that situation will pose a mathematical problem that you can solve by permutation, combination, seating arrangements, inequalities, blood relations, or any of those. So you have to see whether using those two statements, that data given in those two statements is sufficient to answer the question that follows or not. Okay. Okay, and meanwhile I'm doing this, I am also coming to the question that a lot of you are actually asking. Okay, now I can see that a lot of you are actually asking the question, ma'am, we want to write online exam practices. Ma'am, level of difficulty increases in AMCAT. Wasiullah, Sayed, the level of difficulty, that is exactly why we publish a mock AMCAT paper. So Bal Nayak and Sayed, what I'm going to say next is going to answer both your questions. Every weekend, boys and girls, the All India level mock AMCAT is published exclusively for you, free on our website, where you can just log in and take the test. All you have to do is log in, take the test. It is available on Saturday and Sunday. The test opens on Friday night or Saturday early morning, whatever you want to call it, 12 o'clock. It is available for you for a window of 48 hours. You can take it till Sunday midnight, 12 o'clock. And Monday morning, you will get a detailed analysis, a personalized feedback of your performance, telling you along with that of your All India level rank. Okay, now with this, let's move on to questions on data sufficiency. Okay, so like I was telling you, boys and girls, there will be two statements that will describe a situation to you, and we have to see whether that situation is enough for us to solve the question. Now, let us look at the question. There are 5 friends, and we have to tell who among them is the heaviest. So there are 5 friends here, boys and girls, and we have to tell who among them is the heaviest. Okay. N is heavier than only O and R. So if you see, Let's draw 5 blanks. 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 blanks. We know that n is heavier, and let us say move from 1 to 5, where 5 is the lightest, where 1 is the lightest and 5 is the heaviest. So they tell us n is heavier than only O and R. So if you notice, if he is heavier than only 2 people, it means that n actually comes in the middle. N is heavier than O and R, which means that both O and R are lighter than N. So either of them can actually come here. We know that M is heavier than N but lighter than P, which means if N is heavier, M is heavier than N but lighter than P. So here we have it in front of us. Now, can we from this say who is the heaviest? Exactly. We can say that who is the heaviest is P, but we need both the statements to answer our question, and like Sheikh is saying, Raguma is saying that your answer here is 5. Both the statements are necessary to answer this question. Take 30 seconds, boys and girls. Once again, have a glance at this question and see if you are able to answer it. I am going to make things a little difficult for you. I am going to erase the little line diagram that I have drawn, because drawing a diagram is a very, very important part of any question where you are deciding the order. The way you read the question and you chalk out your diagram is going to ensure and help you to answer the question correctly. So 3 people have got. Narendra says he's got it. Naren seems to be like, a brand ambassador of thumbs up. All right, who else? Looking forward to hear that from some more of you. Before I actually move on to the next question, which is also on data sufficiency. Shruti also says option 5. Satya says option 5. Bal Nayak says option 5. Divakar had also told us option number 5. Okay, I am going to move to the next question on data sufficiency. Now, let us look at this question. Okay. How is X related to Y? So we can see that this is one of those questions of family tree. P is the father of X. So we know that P, boys and girls, is the father of X. Now, let's just write FATH to understand he is the father. X has 2 sisters and Y is the sister. So X has 2 sisters, X has 2 sisters, Y is one of them, which means that Y is a female, only then can Y be a sister. Then W is the wife of X. If W is the wife, she has to be female, which means that X has to be male. Now the sex says Y is the father of Z. They say Y is the father. Now, a big discrepancy arises here if you see with this statement, Y is the father of Z. Because they have told us in the above statement that Y is the sister of X. Now, if Y is the sister, how can Y be the father? Which means that, and even if we look, we cannot solve the relationship between X and Y. We know that Y is the sister of X, but we do not know whether X is the brother or the sister of Y. And the second statement only adds to the confusion about Y, which means that here the option is 4, that both the statements together are not enough to answer the question. Narendra, you have said brother. I would request you to read the statements once again. They tell us X has 2 sisters. One of the sisters is Y. Now, X has 2 sisters. X has 2 sisters. They tell us here. Now, X, the second sister, we do not know who the sister is. Also, they tell us that X is the wife, but if you look at the second statement puts us into a doubt about the gender of Y, which means that there is a great discrepancy between both these two statements, and therefore none of them is sufficient to answer the question. Therefore, the answer here is 4. Divakar has got it. Sheikh has got it. Balnayak says only 1. No, Balnayak, because the second statement adds to a lot of confusion, and it has not been mentioned in the first statement. It says Y is the sister. So 2 sisters can also have a third sister. X could also be a female. Nothing has been specified here. Balnayak has a doubt. Balnayak, go ahead. Tell us what your doubt is. Balnayak says, no ma'am, I do not agree with what you have to say. Shruti agrees with me though. So Balnayak, have a look. Tell me whether you agree with me or not. Sayyid agrees with me. Okay, so I'm hoping by now Balnayak has agreed with me, and we can move on to the next question once again in data sufficiency. Now, let us look at this question. Now, 5 friends A, B, C, D, E are sitting in a row facing north. So, 5 friends, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They are facing the north. Now, E sits 4th to the right of B. Now, E sits, so if I put E here, E sits 4th to the right of B. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, this is where B is going to be sitting. Then they tell us B is the immediate neighbor of C. B is the immediate neighbor of C. Now, let us look at it here. They say which one sits exactly in the middle row. The middle row here being 1. You can see after we have plotted what statement 1 has to say, we have not been able to identify who sits in the middle row. Therefore, we know that statement 1 is definitely not sufficient to answer my question. Now, B. C sits 3rd to the left of A and sits on the extreme end. Now, we know that C cannot be sitting on the extreme end because C is actually, now even if I put C, let us say, on one of the extreme ends, C sits to the 3rd left. Actually, this is going to be, they say C sits here and C is 3rd. Just a minute, just give me a minute. Let us now plot out what the second statement is. Let us now, boys and girls, plot out what the second statement is saying. Now, if you look at the second statement, C sits 3rd to the left of A and sits on the extreme end. They tell us C sits on the extreme end and is 3rd. 1, 2, 3 to the left of A, which once again does not tell us that who sits in the middle, and once again the answer, boys and girls, is 4, where both the statements are not enough to tell us that what is going to be the answer of the question. Looks like most of you have got it, and I would once again request you take 30 seconds, see if you have understood the question. I can see Divakar has got it, Shruti has got it, Narendra has got it, Balnayak has got it, Raghuma has got it. Alright, with this let's move on to the next question, which also, boys and girls, is on data sufficiency. So with this being the last question, once again I'm going to put it on your screen and let you solve it to see whether you have understood the concept of data sufficiency. So brace up, pick up a pen and paper and get set go while I put the next question on the screen to see which one of you answers the question first. And tic-tac-toe, tick-tick-tock, there is your next question on the screen. Quickly, I'm looking forward to get an answer from you guys to see what the answer to the last question of the day is. I hope you've got your pen and paper with you. You are scribbling, quickly trying to find out whether statement 1 is enough, whether statement 2 is enough. Both of them are in, both of them together, none of them, either of them. Looking forward to hear a quick answer. This is a really simple one, by the way. Really simple. Should not take you guys long at all to reach the answer. Okay, so someone tells us option 2. Divakar says option 2, which means that the data in statement 2 alone is sufficient. Raghuma says 5, Sheikh says 5, Narendra says 4, which means that the answer can't be solved, that the question can't be solved. Okay, I'm going to wait for another 30 seconds before I dive into the question and quickly explain the super simple concept that lies here. Saeed says 5. Okay, all those of you who have said 5 here are absolutely correct because the answer here is 5. Let's quickly plot it. We know that question is today with days of the week. So quickly let's write Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now, according to the father of Ram, Ram went to Patna after Tuesday but before Saturday. Which means that according to the father, Ram went to Patna on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Now with this statement, I am not being able to tell you exactly when Ram went to Patna, which means that option 1 does not hold. Statement 1 enough is not sufficient to answer the question. The mother, according to Ram's mother, he went after Monday but before Thursday, which means Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. There is only one overlap that happens Wednesday, which means that both the statements are required to answer the question. And yes, the answer is Wednesday. Ram goes to Patna on Wednesday. Once again, take 30 seconds and see if you have understood why we have got this question, why we have reached this answer. Bashir, neither of the one statement here is not enough. I need a combination of both statement 1 and 2. With this, we come to an end for our live class for the day. And I hope that the concepts that we discussed of coded inequalities, syllogisms, data sufficiency will help you to master these sections and ensure that next time when you're in a recruitment drive or when you're in a recruitment drive or you're writing a mock AMCAT, when you're writing an AMCAT or an e-litmus or a CoCube, there you ensure that you ace all these 3 sections. Time not to be scared of these sections anymore. Come out of your comfort zone, practice some more questions, for which you can log on to our website www.talentsprint.com. You can go on to the IT section in it and then take on the mock test. So yes, once you log on to our website, you will be able to see a landing page. You will be able to see a link that will directly take you to the mock AMCAT that is held every weekend. Sayed here has asked me to wait for a doubt. Yes, Sayed, I am here for your doubt. Okay, Bal Nayak asks, when are live classes? Bal Nayak, free live classes are held every Friday evening at 6 o'clock. We alternate between different subjects like English, logical reasoning, aptitude, and also your technological skills, that is coding, C++, Java. So every Friday 6 o'clock is when the live session is held. With this, I wrap up our live session for the day. Hope to see all of you in the next live session when we hold it next Friday. Till then, take care. Bye-bye. Keep practicing, keep getting, keep practicing, keep writing papers, and keep giving interviews. You never know where you land up with your dream job. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.